Corey, welcome back to Kdka. Let's swing away and talk some golf. Neil Shipley, give me an update. I know he attempted to make it to the U.S. Open, fell a little short. So give me an update on him first. Good evening.
Yeah, Neil's been playing great, though. I mean, he's made the cut on some PGA Tour events that he had sponsored exemptions to. He won a Korn Ferry Tour event a couple weeks back. And, I think he's, obviously coaching him. He's very determined to make it. And I think if he finishes the rest of the year pretty solid on the Korn Ferry, he'll earn his PGA Tour card. And we'll be seeing him more and more nationally and, get into future majors so that we can all root for him as a Pittsburgh story.
Well, it must be the Central Catholic education because he's articulate. So the other day I'm scrolling and doing some work from the home studio, and on the U.S. Open Facebook page, it had him, the backstory, as a at one time caddy at Oakmont, talking about the nuances and walking the course and taking you to places that most people don't see. Really a social media influencer early, but I think he's going to have a great opportunity there as well. So he's got a gift of gab for sure, and obviously he can play the great game of golf. So talk to me about you, former coach, obviously the Bob O'Connor course, Pittsburgh Golf Club, Dan Brennan on with me last night. How did this whole thing start with you, your love of golf?
So actually it was one of my dad's friends. I played baseball until I was about 20, but golf gave me a set. I had 5 clubs, grow up playing Shenley Park, and, would just go up and practice. And people that were up there for so many years would show you little tips here and there, and here's how you should hit a run shot, here's how you should hit a flop shot, the various things like that. And then, got to high school, tried out for the team, made it with 5 clubs in my bag. And it was funny, here I am, the kid that grew up playing Shenley. I would show up in a T-shirt and shorts, and that wasn't the proper golf attire. But I learned quickly what you're supposed to wear. But it was also, it's fun being a kid that grew up on an inner city course because you go to these country clubs and people hit over water, over bunkers. And, are you nervous to hit that shot? No, at Shenley Park, I'm nervous I'm hitting over somebody driving their car and walking, in the middle of the road. So, I think it's a different style of golf, but it's what makes, that course unique. And it's also what makes golf unique. Well, people can make it from all different walks of life if you have determination to constantly practice and constantly play. And I will tell you, when I coached at Central, yes, we had a lot of kids that had advantage to play country clubs, but the kids that had the most grit and grind were public course players. And I think that's what, I really loved about coaching and meeting kids from all different backgrounds.
Well, I think it's also the reason why you talk about how much you love the city and certain things that need to be done and why it's about young people having an opportunity. And I know your dad felt the exact same way. So let's fast forward a little bit. How did you become coach at Central Catholic? How'd that happen?
So I played there, then coming out of high school, there was an opening to be the JV coach while I was at Duquesne. So I did that for a few years. And then my senior year at Duquesne, the varsity coach was leaving, asked me to be the coach. My first match, it was actually funny. I showed up. It was my 21st birthday, and the opposing coach thought I was a player and wasn't taking me very seriously. But we won that match. It was a great run because, you buy into the kids. You push yourself as a coach to, it's more of a management style at high school golf. How do you shave off a stroke here and there? And also, it's an individual sport, but coaching it as a team, it's a whole different mindset. And you have to get kids to realize, yes, I know you can hit that shot over water from 200 yards to be on a par 5 and 2, but the team actually needs you to hit a layup and make a par. And to teach high school kids that, it's very difficult, but when you can manage kids and get them to buy into a team concept, it really builds momentum in a program. It gets people talking about the game of golf differently, and I think it's a great asset, especially in Western Pennsylvania, when we have so many great golfers that came out of here. And next week we're going to showcase the region nationally, actually worldwide, because it's the U.S. Open. And I think little things like that build our economy, build, again, another reason to talk about Pittsburgh and what's great about living in this city.
Speaking of economy, do you think the average golfer or average person realizes, I do because I've seen it firsthand, what kind of economic impact? So I'm talking to a gentleman who's the manager of the Hilton Garden Inn in Cranberry, Dr. Gerald Piper's son, Todd. He was in studio with his dad here a few weeks ago, and he said they're already sold out. And I'm thinking Cranberry, Oakmont, so what's good for Cranberry's got to be good for downtown. I'm sure it's hard to get a hotel in downtown Pittsburgh, too. So Oakmont and really all of us, especially those in the business of the service industry, are going to benefit economically because of what's going to happen at the historic Oakmont Country Club.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you have a full week of international travel to this region. And not only do we get to host the men's open, but I think it's 2028, the women's open is here again. And it's those events that give us the opportunity to sell our region. To somebody coming from Kansas City that loves golf but has never been to Pittsburgh or the region, it's now our time to shine. It's, Oakmont as a great, neighborhood. Talk about their business district, but also, talk about downtown, what we have going for us that week. And I think those are the types of things that people underestimate about having events like this to sell your city and your region to people that otherwise would have never been here, but they're coming for something specific. And I think that's the big sell for all of us. It helps small business, it helps hotels, restaurants, things like that. And this is a great time to show what Western PA is all about.
All right, Corey, so tell me about Oakmont. When you first stepped on that place that is the hallowed ground of Oakmont, what went through your mind, and what do you think about every time you have a chance to go there?
Oh, I mean, nowadays I don't play very much golf, but coached a couple matches there. It is a difficult test. Not only do you have the rough, and the one thing that a lot of people who are members there always take pride in the rough being the same for the U.S. Open as it is for them playing it each and every day. But I think you're going to see a great test of golf, and not only the skill shots, but next week is going to be the mental game. Can you recover from a bad shot? Do you know that, again, you're in a bunker from 180 yards out, but you're by the lip? Hey, I'm going to lay up and take my bogey. U.S. Open golf is a lot different than what you see every day on the PGA Tour. And it's about golfers really having the mental fortitude to win a U.S. Open. And it's I think it's probably the most difficult tournament in golf to win. And I think you're going to see the players who can come back from a bogey, even a double bogey, being able to grind out 74, 75 one day because you're still going to be in the hunt. Because there's not a lot of birdies that course is going to give up over the next 4 days when they play next week.
All right, before I let you go, Corey O'Connor talking about his beloved game, golf, that I equally love. He plays it, but I just love to watch it and love to talk about it, and we're going to be following this thing all the way through to the end. And, of course, we've had a number of people on, and we'll continue to do so this Sunday and next Sunday on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show from the Fox Chapel Golf Club. Alex Child will be joining us. We had Devin Gee on recently, the pro at Oakmont. So my money is on Scotty Scheffler. And look, I know you got the Colin Morikawas, you got the Xander Schauffele's, the John Rahms, Bryson DeChambeau, and so many others, Rory. But this guy has just been playing phenomenal golf, and I just love his swagger. Your thoughts on maybe who you think will be the victor when this thing is all said and done a week from Sunday? Corey.
Yeah, I mean, I think Scotty Scheffler shows, even if, and I haven't been watching that much this year. I've been a little busy. But, if you look at his stats, his comeback after a bogey or after a bad hole is far superior to a lot of players. I think, obviously he's probably the betting man's choice at this point. But if you really want to see a great finish, imagine if you had him and McIlroy in the final group on Sunday. Woo. It would be through the roof, especially if you throw in Bryson again in the last couple groups. But I would probably say, odds-on favorite would be Bryson or would be Scotty at this point, just because of his ability to recover and knowing that there aren't going to be that many birdies out there. And people like Bryson DeChambeau that bomb the ball, that rely on making a lot of birdies. However, I mean, he is the defending champ. That course just it eats you up where you could be long, but if you're not straight and you're not accurate, you're going to have a rough time at Oakmont.
All right. Listen, I know you're busy. Thank you for carving out a little time. Last thing before I let you go, because of Father Terry, your thoughts about Bishop Zubik retiring, and then we'll say goodnight. Go ahead.
Oh, no, Bishop Zubik was a great leader for the church. You know, my brother knew him being a Catholic priest, and, you know, now there's a new regime there, and I think, you know, it's a part of Pittsburgh that is part of our whole community. And, you know, when you name a new bishop, it's a lot of pressure on the new bishop to continue, but also making sure that the church is part of the community and part of the conversation about the future of Pittsburgh and the future of the region. So it's a difficult job, but I think they picked the right person.
All right, Corey, thanks for always spending time with me. Have a great rest of your night and keep it going, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Take care.
All right, Corey O'Connor.